Welcome back to another episode of Straight Facts. I'm joined by Jessica Black. How are you?
Good. Can't complain. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm enjoying the international break to a degree. It's been very, very nice indeed. Looking forward to this show and jumping into a lot of these subjects that are currently trending across social media. Viewers, hope you're good. Let us know how you. First question I've got the viewers today. Let us know where you are watching from around the world. It's always nice to know where our audience is listening from or watching from. So let us know in the live comment section right now. Lots to delve into in this show. We're going to be talking about some big updates on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his potential sacking. There's been some information leaked out today from a number of sources, and we're going to kind of give you a lowdown on what's being said. It's kind of rounding up a lot of what other people have said already. I want to delve into why you think this is going on, and we're going to discuss that with Jess. We're going to take a look at Steven Gerrard's return to the Premier League, West Ham United's billionaire takeover, have a real deep dive into the title race as well, and look at who is more likely to make it into the top four. Hello to Twisted. Hope you're very, very well. My friend, hope you're good. Where are people watching from? Birmingham. We've got a couple of people, look, back to back, watching from Birmingham in the UK. Man like Narks here, watching from my old stomping ground, East London. Look at this one here, Mauritius. What a country. Mauritius, you're watching from there. Do you know where this is in California?
Yep, that's around LA, close to the valley. So
Cool.
there you go. Yeah.
Jamal's in Canada. Low Fat is in Manchester. We've got Kevin in Canada. Lots and lots and lots go. Lots of people watching. Here we go from Bangladesh, Cape Town. Rebecca's in Cape Town right now. Planet Earth. Well done, mate. Be amazing if imagine if somebody wasn't. Imagine if literally we've got someone in outer space you can pick up the signal from there, watching from Saturn or something. It'd be amazing. One day, who knows? One day, people will be on Saturn with their orange snow and purple rain, according to, I swear the lyrics. Is it orange snow, rainbows, moonbeams, and orange snow? Stevie Wonder, song called Saturn. It's a very, very good song. From Songs to the Key of Life, one of the greatest albums known to man. But let's delve into the big news this afternoon. So there's two kind of, I wouldn't even call them contrary reports. I believe they're along the same threads, but I want to put this out to the audience and put this across to you, Jess. So the Football Insider has said this afternoon that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is highly likely to take charge of the Watford game. They've said there has to be instant and immediate improvements in the performances from Manchester United. Otherwise, Ole will be sacked. This kind of echoes a story from The Sun yesterday that it's going to be a when, not an if. At the same time, in the article, it says that any kind of talk of Ole surviving the complete season is way off the mark. There is no way he survives a season if there isn't this vast improvement. So it feels like a positive that we're coming to the end of the road here for Ole. It's legit. You turn it round now or you're going to be gone. There are other reports that, and some journalists are not quite saying this, some are, but there's also, because we heard Laurie Whitwell yesterday say, they're not talking to any manager seriously right now, but if performances against Watford don't improve, he could be gone. It feels like we're coming to the end. Do you get the sense that this is maybe not so much about a lack of planning or support for Ole, and more so that maybe, just maybe, they haven't found the right replacement as of now? Like, what's your take? Because Man United fans are getting infuriated with the fact that he's still here, that he's been given any more time. Like, what's your take from the outside looking in?
I've been saying it for weeks. He's his own interim. Like, he literally is like forever interim at Man United. The issue is, I don't think you can really say it's not a lack of planning, because this is a lack of planning and indecision. And things are just, you should be able to sack a manager and rehire quickly at this level, but they just haven't found their guy. Whatever guy that they want is either going to be managing a team during the World Cup, or is in a good job right now, or is just not wanting to be in this job. Like, they just can't find their guy. I think that's pretty obvious. I don't think they're that crazy to think that like Ole is going to turn this around. There is no turning it around. I mean, he hasn't had like a full-on Harry Kane and co walking around the pitch to get Nuno sacked, but he's definitely lost a section of that fan base, and or not the fan base, the locker room. And once you do that, it's done. So there is no turning it around. They're just basically just biding their time. But at the same time, it's kind of like, what's a couple more games? What's a couple more games? You're going to have to get an interim. Whatever manager you want, you can't get them out of their job that they're in, or they're not interested. So the indecision is making decisions for them, like not being able to get Conte. That's a mistake by just waiting. So for me, it's they just don't, they want somebody, but they can't get him. And they're just lying to you guys and making it seem like Ollie has a chance when we all know that he doesn't, But from your perspective, I mean, it has to be really, frustrating, because the longer that he stays and the more losses come and the more bad performances, I mean, the season is pretty much a write-off. You're even seeing, reports come out about Ronaldo maybe not staying because he doesn't want to play in Europa League. I mean, for you, it must be frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's just been a new report that's been put out, and I mean, this is from Chris Winterburn, someone who I follow, who follows me. He works for Master in English, and his words are: Man United is set to keep Solskjaer for now. Ralph Rangnick doesn't expect to be contacted by the club for the job. United's intentions moving forward is to hire Brendan Rodgers, but the club will need to convince fans of such a plan. And there's almost this element of, again, that echoes the news that I've been given today. It echoes the news that I did a video earlier. It echoes the news currently in the Football Insider. It echoes what a number of journalists have kind of said, that he's sacking is a when and not an if. We know that Ollie's sacking is coming. But maybe there's an element of truth in this. They want Rodgers. And maybe they feel that if we get things just to a point of not even beyond no return, like when you get sometimes in life, you can get to a stage where you go, just give us anybody. We don't even care that he managed Liverpool. Maybe that's what, I don't even know. They are warped in the way they do their thinking. But there's another report out now that's stating exactly the same thing as what I've already said today and what I did a video about a couple of hours ago. Ollie's staying for now. And I think the most painful element of this for me is that, and there may be a plan behind it, but I don't like the plan. I don't know, really. It just feels... I know you're saying he's the only interim, but that's the bit that's winding people up. Every game Ollie is here, we fall further behind our rivals, and it's just painful to see. There's a comment here that says, great to see the new host of TFT, Jessica. Someone says, putting Jess in the thumbnails is a smart move. Well, we're doing that for all our podcast shows. You'll see it. We did it with Lee Gunnar as well yesterday. But thank you very much indeed. Make sure that like button is being smashed, please, people. It's very important to the terrace that you get that done. Let's get this stream. We're going to... I announced the start of a new competition yesterday. I've updated the competition in terms of the guessing the secret phrase. The prize I'm going to give you is epic. The football boots will be included, but I'm putting an additional prize straight in on top for you. So stay tuned for that. It's coming a little bit later on in the show. We're going to give you an update on that. We have a super chat here from Joel that says, I find it funny that Dan James has played more minutes for United than Lingard and Van der Beek combined. That is under Ollie, I assume you mean, because obviously Lingard has been here for years. That's a crazy statistic, and I didn't realize that was true. Ola here says commercial club equals United. Board decision will decides who starts and who doesn't, is what Olu's got to say. Thank you, AJ, for becoming an official academy member of the Football Terrace.
Terry,
yeah, go on.
Are you at the point now where you're willing to just accept Rodgers, though? Because I mean, like, you're saying you want to get to, you're probably at a point now where you're like, anybody would be better than Ollie. You said before you don't want Brendan Rodgers, but he's looking a little bit more attractive now that you probably just want somebody else to come in. I don't think he's as bad as maybe, I think there's a little bit of that Liverpool element to it, but I also just think he's not that exciting of an appointment. But you look at how Leicester kind of playing and they're falling off, maybe his head is turned. Maybe you could get him in January. Who knows? They may be waiting for January. I mean, if you wait till January, the season's over anyway, but at least you'd have somebody else in there. He can coach a defense to stay in a position,
Yeah, I and that was one of our talking points around there's something going on with Brendan Rodgers, because the way Leicester have become so inconsistent this year, I think there is something in the Man United job. I think the links to Newcastle, all of this has gone on at the same time. Would I take Brendan Rodgers, though? Maybe that's a strategy from the club. Create an air of desperation and you'll accept anything. I've come to the realization, though, that Man United don't have a plan. Is in a club plan of how they want to play football, the right manager for the job. Brendan Rodgers, with the squad we've got, I think would be a better appointment than Antonio Conte. Conte would win something in the short term, but would want to overhaul the squad massively. That would hemorrhage more money. I think we could. I'd rather not hemorrhage more money out the football club if we could help it. It doesn't matter if it's Brendan Rodgers or Zidane or Pep or Klopp. No one is going to have sustained success under this ownership. So I'm beyond, to a degree, I'm almost beyond caring. Every appointment is going to be short term. And that's because I believe the opposite of what the Glazers tell us. So when the Glazers tell Laurie Whitwell that we didn't want Conte because we want a manager for the long term, they're lying. The new manager will last 18 months to 3 years max and be gone, and will be linked with somebody else that plays a different style of football to the next individual. If we went from Brendan Rodgers, he did well, and then from him we went to a Ten Hag or to a Nagelsmann, then I would say, well, there's an air of consistency in this, because I'm not saying they play the same style, but they're of the same ilk. They play a progressive form of football. I just don't believe in any of that. So am I willing to accept Brendan Rodgers? Yeah, why not?
Users, let's be real.
That's it, and that's the situation that we're in now. And it's one of those things. If Antonio Conte does brilliant things at Tottenham, wins them a few trophies, and then you guys need a new manager, and Conte was available, and he's at that point deemed world class, you'd take him. And you know how we know this?
Let's be real. Spurs aren't going to win anything, but maybe a Carabao Cup. Come on now.
Yeah, but that's not the point I'm making. You're going away from the point being made.
You tried to throw salt at me really quickly.
No. That's not salt. And do you know how I know I'm right? Because you lot love Sol Campbell. Case in point rested. You love Sol Campbell, and he's the best player to ever play for Tottenham in the Premier League era, or best centre-back at least. And you guys fell in love with him when he came for free because it was won over. This is the one thing I would say, and I've said it all along about Rodgers, the one good thing about bringing him in, if he did yield some very good success, it gives you an extra bit of banter towards your rivals. Although right now Liverpool fans won't care. They got Klopp, they're happy. Who knows what 2 or 3 years down the line will look like for any of our clubs. But yeah, I'd take Rodgers now. I would take, of course, I would have taken Conte. I've said for a good few weeks now, my personal preference, I'm over it. My personal preference is almost irrelevant now, because the likelihood of this manager being a success is so low under our ownership. They've got a 0% success rate so far. We haven't had one title challenge off the managers they've appointed. Not one proper run in the Champions League under the managers that they've appointed. So I don't care who we appoint anymore. Legitimately, I got no faith. None. Zero.
You know what I like about it, though? Like, honestly, if you guys were to get Brendan Rodgers sometime in the middle of the season, I think at that point your season would be disrupted and quite frankly over. And then it would disrupt Leicester even further. And for me, seeing Leicester where they are and looking, I don't know, they look, I mean, I had them finishing somewhere near where they did last season, but really struggling. Maybe it's because of Brendan Rodgers. So I like disruption. I like it, so hopefully it would keep them where they are right now, because West Ham is starting to really scare me. But Leicester are nowhere to be found. And that makes me a happy, happy girl. So yeah, but I do think that Brendan Rodgers would definitely be a better option than Ollie. Most people would. It just depends on when you get him in, because you can't just throw away the season. I know that a lot of Man United fans probably don't want to talk about it, but you can't throw away a season with Ronaldo on your team. Can't do it when Varane comes back. Like, you just can't do it, So January seems like it's too late, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're waiting on. January.
Yeah, no, look, I completely agree with you that they can't. Throwing the season away makes the appointment. It's almost like there's a sour element to it. Does that make sense? If Brendan Rodgers comes in now he can turn our season around. He can get us into the top 4, which makes next season more exciting. The problem is, it's a bit like Newcastle. Newcastle fans are very excited about their future. Getting relegated this year. So if the appointment of Eddie Howe is wrong and they go down, it doesn't stop them from progressing, but it throws a spanner in the works for a year or two. And if Brendan Rodgers comes in and by the end of the season we are purring, at the start of next season we are purring, but we're not in the Champions League, there'll be an element of frustration still that, why didn't you bring him in 2 months earlier? It's going to cost the same in January to buy out Brendan Rodgers' contract as it does now. So what if he is the number 1 target, buy him out. And maybe they've been trying to fix an interim. Maybe they've been trying to do this and that. But that for me is the frustrating element. Buy him out his contract now, today. Don't delay it. Buy Brendan Rodgers out. In the same way that, no disrespect to Aston Villa, a club with much less financial clout, much less power, much less history, much less prestige than Man United, a smaller club. They are buying Steven Gerrard out of his contract, and they are looking to bring him in by the end of this week at the latest. That deal is looking almost over the line. They're just getting it done. So don't tell me, not you, just in general, that it's hard to bring players in that are already at other clubs. It isn't. You've just got to put your money where your mouth is. And for me, there's a few other side things going on. But look, I think Ollie's a dead man walking. I don't believe in this notion of Terry, give it up. He isn't going to be sacked. He is. The painful bit is we've got nothing to look forward to at all, because at the end of the day, right now, as it stands, Ollie hasn't gone, and we know that we're going to struggle against Watford. We're probably going to get beat by Villarreal. Then we've got back-to-back games against Chelsea and Arsenal. And I'd love to have a better quality manager in place by the time we play those two teams. Maybe that's still a possibility. I'm sure you're hoping that Rodgers comes in after the Arsenal game, which is true.
You guys love a bounce. You guys love a bounce. Like, you love a bounce. So no, the one Ollie's still there for sure. Yeah, I think Arteta sacks Ollie, to be honest. Told you that earlier.
You think that will happen?
Yeah, I don't think Man United can handle that level of humiliation. You know, slapped by Liverpool, toyed around with by Man City, and then potentially losing to relegation-threatened Arsenal at home.
Relegation-threatened Arsenal? What are you talking about?
Well, we were a relegation-threatened Arsenal.
You're not anymore, though, are you? No, so you went too far then with the Disney story. You tried to play you are now back, so there's none of that. But you're right, it will be embarrassing. Like, I can see us if Ollie's there, getting tanked in back-to-back games, and there's 4 days gap between those 2 matches. 4 days. We literally play Villarreal, I think, on a Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday. Play Chelsea at the weekend, and we have you midweek. Oh, we could lose both those games, and it will be carnage. And then maybe the master plan is then Rodgers comes in, and everybody forgets he was Liverpool manager. Forgets. It's just like, we just need someone. Yep, Rodgers is here. Great, fine. Everybody looks over any of their concerns. But we'll see what happens there. We've got some super chats I've got to do here. I don't want to miss these. This season, and he left in the summer. I don't know what you mean. You mean he'll leave in the summer? I don't think Ollie will last the summer, my friend, to be honest, but we will see. Enjoying my football terrace. Terry, the GOAT, and Jess just passed Anita in the rankings and become the queen of the football terrace. Love from San Diego. Thank you very much, my friend. Rodgers is brilliant for the Glazers. Proven record with a limited budget. Has a clear style of play and will be happy just to be there. Man like Sam says Prison FC recruited a women's team. Yeah, I did see that news today. We have to wait and arrests are arrests. We have to wait and see whether there's actually any guilt behind it before we chat. Maybe naive to think the Man United board would think like this, but maybe they are waiting for after the Arsenal game to give the next coach an easier run of fixtures. Well, that's what Igal said. That's Igal's logic has been. It's just a big plan. What's your take on it? Do you think this could all just be a strategy to give the new manager 5 or 6 easy games on the bounce?
I mean, I think that's ideal. You want them to have an easy run of games coming in, but for that to be a plan feels a little galaxy brain for me, because the squad that you have, if you had sacked Ollie in the last international break, you would be up and running already. You wouldn't even be looking at Chelsea and Arsenal games as sure losses, which I don't think they are. But I think that's a little galaxy brain for me. And even if it were to work out that way and he were to get some easier games, you still have thrown away a huge chunk of your season, with a squad that can compete, So for me, it's a little galaxy brain. I'm not sure if I think that that's really what's going on here. I just think that they're indecisive and they're sitting there like, what do we do? Like, that's kind of more what I think it is than this grandiose plan.
Yeah. Daniel here says, Man United leave Rodgers alone, still doing great things. But we kind of touched on Brendan Rodgers earlier, and this kind of moves and morphs into the kind of top four conversation. Like right now, they're not even in the top four argument for me in terms of, I know that some will say, but anything can happen. They could turn it around. Yeah. They could. But I haven't seen any signs this season of this team turning it round. Do you feel like Brendan Rodgers has got his heart set on becoming, say, the Man United manager or going somewhere else? Do you think his head has been turned?
You know what? I think it's a couple of things. I think it's a couple of things where I wouldn't be – Brendan Rodgers is no stranger to getting his head turned and kind of wanting to do the next best thing. He's kind of that guy that's been at several different places and he's always kind of looking for that next move. So for me, I wouldn't be surprised if a good opportunity came about. Let's be real, managing Man United is a huge, huge opportunity for him to have a second kind of bite at the cherry in terms of managing a top side in the Premier League. He probably has scars from the Liverpool job, let's be real. So he probably wants to turn that around. And, what better chance to do that than with a rival, in Man United. So, and I also just think with Leicester, sometimes the voice of that manager just maybe becomes a little bit stale. They've missed out on the top four a couple of times under Rodgers. I think some of those players are kind of at the end of their whatever at Leicester. You have Vardy, who's at the end of his career. You have Maddison, that I think at some point in the summer may have been looking for a different opportunity. Tielemans is definitely on his way out. And it just feels like they may need a new voice in that locker room. Sometimes it starts to get drowned out when you've been there for a while, and managers just don't last the way that Sir Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger have in those years. Like, it's 3 years, 4 years tops, and it's time to move on, not because they're bad, but because they just went stale. And I feel like I would not be surprised if at the end of this season they parted ways and Leicester went in a different direction and he went to go do something else. I think it's a natural thing, but I think it's a combination of certain things. But he knows about the Man United position, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was interested in it.
Yeah, look, he's got a very good win percentage at Leicester, 50%. I think you got to remember, that's the same as his Liverpool win percentage, and he nearly won the league there. I think he wants to test himself at a higher level, and it's about timing for some people, because if he commits to another couple of years at Leicester and things don't work out, well, his stock drops. Maybe he looks at it now as the right time for himself to move on and do something new. It just feels like there's something, and maybe again we're just putting 2 and 2 together and getting 37 because he's linked to Man United.
This is all speculation, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Has that had a knock-on effect? But we've seen it before where managers have had their head. I tell you an interesting example. When Marco, what was his name? Marco Silva. He was at Watford, then he went to Everton. Marco Silva?
Yeah, Silva. Mm-hmm.
So when Marco Silva was at Watford doing well, Richarlison left, and then there was talk of him going with him. And then Watford become bad, and everybody went, they've gone bad because his head was turned. And then he went to Everton, they started well, and then it went bad. No, it didn't go bad because his head was turned. It went bad because he wasn't a good enough manager. And I suppose that's my concern about Brendan Rodgers is he really a good enough manager? Are Leicester just kind of flapping now because he's been given... It could be the same issues I saw him have when he was at Liverpool. I felt at Liverpool when he had a small, concise squad that stayed fit and he had one competition to try and compete in, he did really well and nearly won the league. The following season, yes, he lost Suarez, but he then had a bigger squad. He had to play Champions League and he had to rotate his squad to compete in both competitions, and he really struggled. This season, Leicester are trying to win the Europa League. They're also trying to get into the Champions League. He's been given the likes of Patson Daka and Samari to make his squad bigger. And is he managing again? Is he struggling to manage again the balance of rotating?
Yeah.
Rotating. This is when you see the difference between a world-class coach and a world-class manager. How you handle 2 games a week, rotating your squad and getting the very best out of people. So it could be that his head's turned. It could just be the age-old problem with Brendan Rodgers, that he's a very good coach, but an average manager. And knowing my luck, that'll be true.
And let's be real, like trying to figure out how to rotate in Didi and Tielemans and Sumare and, Vardy versus Patson Daka and Iheanacho is completely different than trying to find the balance between Ronaldo and Greenwood. That's completely different. How to integrate Donny van de Beek when you have Fred, whatever, trying to find the balance in your midfield, trying to make sure everybody's happy at that level, trying to figure out where Sancho works when Rashford is better than him in the left wing position. So there's a level there that he would need to step up to. I'm not sure if he really has it. I think he's a good coach, would do better, but do you want somebody who could just do better? And that's my thing with Man United. I know that it stinks, but I still think it's almost like wait to the summer and see if you could literally get the perfect person. And in mid-season, I feel like it's going to be a struggle, but that's up to your board, and your board is doing a little of, that thing. So we'll see.
No, I completely hear you. Got some super chats here. This says, if they do show some strength and sack Ole this year, he will be the 9th Premier League manager sacked in 2021. When was the last time we had so many sacked in a 12-month period? No idea of the stat behind that. I feel like there's in a calendar year, I swear at least half the managers get sacked every year. That's how it feels anyway.
It doesn't feel like this. This feels extreme.
Maybe we just had a build-up where 2 or 3 should have been sacked, but they managed to hold on to their jobs. For instance, Steve Bruce would be a prime candidate. And then you've had a few shockers. So you kind of had the likes of, nobody would have predicted Dean Smith. Dean Smith and Nuno are shocks. And I tell you why, they're shocks in terms of the way it came so quickly. Even though Nuno was doing badly, the Tottenham tier 1s were like, no plans. He's only just here. They're going to give him time. And then suddenly, boom, out of nowhere, kind of gone. But yeah, there has been a lot, no doubt. United fan here. The plan of this board, ride out the storm. Not even sure if they sack him if we lose the next 5. They will only sack him if he doesn't get top 4. Rodgers and so on. Just spin, in my opinion, is what DK has got to say. Now, viewers, we're going to have a little chat about top 4. Still coming up on the podcast today. We're going to have a look at the title race. Want to touch on West Ham's takeover next as well, because it's part of this top 4 situation that we're talking about. But I want to give you an update on the Football Terrace secret phrase and the new prize that we're adding to the Cristiano Ronaldo football boots. You need to be smashing like buttons for this, because it's going to be very, very important. The prize you can win is epic. So there's a golden envelope behind me. It's not really shining in the light because I haven't got it angled so the light's picking it up. But it's there. It's right there, that golden envelope. There is a secret football phrase in there. If you super chat in and you guess that right, you win the prize pool. Right now, there's a pair of Cristiano Ronaldo's Nike football boots in there. What I'm also willing to add to the prize pool is a brand new PlayStation 5. We did an Xbox. We're now willing to add a brand new PlayStation 5 to that mix. We will buy one for you at your request. The reason we can't buy it ahead of time is if you're in the States, we'll buy one from a store out there for you. If you're based in France, we'll buy one in France and have it delivered to you. Especially as if I buy an English one and you win it in America, it won't work over there, right? Because the plugs are different. Seriously. So we're going to get one for you. So PlayStation 5, we're going to add to the prize pool. I will give clues away, but it's about hitting the like button. If we get to 1,000 likes on a show, you get a clue. You might just guess it randomly. You might just guess the football phrase randomly, as it were. So get racking your brains. What do you think the secret phrase is in that envelope? A pair of Cristiano Ronaldo's football boots, as in a brand new pair, not ones he's worn, in the size that you want, and a PlayStation 5. Everyone asked for that last time, and I've gone, right, I will put the money up and buy it to give back to my brilliant super chatters. So get those guesses in now. Someone says, aren't they sold out? Well, if they're sold, in fairness, I found 5 available today. If they are sold out when somebody wins, we'll wait for them to be in stock and we'll buy it. But you will get one. We're not going to sit here on the internet and say you're going to get something and then not give it to you. My reputation and my channel means a lot more to me than messing people about. So once it's in stock, you will get it, and it'll be coming, and it'll be free of charge. So there we go. A few people saying they can't super chat. Yeah, I can't help what countries you're allowed to super chat in. I don't have control over that. So that's the competition. Enter if you want to, and we can go from there. A few people in the comments said, but I prefer Xbox. If you win it and you want an Xbox instead, I'll get you an Xbox. But it's up to you. Whatever you want. You can have a PlayStation or an Xbox. How about we say that? It doesn't matter to me. They're pretty much the same thing, right? Or if I just offended a load of people. I don't know. I don't play computer games myself, but that's on it. But no, I don't know. I don't play them. I have no idea. Right, so top 4. West Ham United have just had a major investment. 27% stake into the football club from a Czech billionaire, Daniel something. His surname now eludes me. West Ham United really feel like they're on the up, Jess, and they're well in the top 4 race. They're playing brilliant football as it stands right now. Give me your thoughts.
I hate them. I hate them so much. I do. I told you the last time I was on here, I forget what it was, maybe Monday, but if West Ham make the top 4, I will pass away. That'll just be it. You'll never see me here again. Because that's just like Arsenal struggling for so many years. And then for them to kind of just do it like that quickly by making all the right decisions, for lucking up and picking Moyes. I mean, the West Ham fan that was on here the other day said that it was the safe choice and it just happened to work out. But they have some really, really good players. And I have to be honest, last season, I was very much like, just doing it because there's no fans in the stands. Luck, whatever. It's not luck. It's not luck. They're really, really, really good. And it just shows the value of really good coaching. It really does, because Moyes has coached those boys up, and they're not crap players that he's coaching. It's not like Graham Potter at Brighton where he's coaching up. So these players are good, and he's coaching them to be like very, very good, so fair play to him. I still am a little bit like, if they're up there by January, I'll feel a little bit more, like, okay, this is solid, because playing in 2 competitions and one of them being the Europa League and them being like a favorites to win it, I do think will hurt their squad, if they do get some injuries to key players. But ultimately, this is no fluke. This is no fluke. And then with new investors coming in, perfect time for that to happen. If you can nick top 4 now, get some good investment in. I'm worried about what the state of the top 4 looks like with another team like that in there. I mean, it's not really a Man City, Chelsea job, but it's essentially what all of us really want, is a good coach, good players, an investment from somebody that actually cares about the team and is willing to do it when they're right there. I know as an Arsenal fan, whenever we were right there, we never did it. And look where we are now, so it's scary. I used to think we have to worry about Leicester, and I still think that they'll come again. But West Ham, if they get top 4 this time around, it's going to be hard to push them out, I think.
Yeah, listen, they're on the rise, and they have done it. There is an element of fortune, and I know where West Ham fans are coming from, because they don't have great owners under Sullivan and Gold. They haven't been run well. There's been so many times they've been let down and disappointed and upset and very much mistreated. Very much mistreated by their ownership. And they've kind of stumbled upon Moyes. He wasn't wanted. The fans didn't take him straight away. But Moyes has really got them working well, and he's showing his qualities. And the one thing that Moyes has on his side right now is those players are so bought into him. They're so invested in David Moyes and what he's about and what he's doing. You then get this billionaire that's come in, 27% stake. There is a lot of talk that he's going to want to get more and bring more in. If they get and the great thing is about taking over a club like West Ham, no major debt as far as I'm aware, unless I've missed something. They've got the London Stadium, which they don't own, but it's cheap. What it costs them to run it is more cost efficient than in some clubs that own their own buildings. So they don't have the asset behind them as owning it, but it's it isn't pennies, but it's a pittance to run it on a match day compared to a lot of other places. The council pick up a lot of the slack around it, part of their deal with Newham Council to get that done. It's a little gold mine. You don't have to pump too much of your own money in, and you're not even allowed to. You're only allowed to pump. Owners can now only pump around £90 million every 2 to 3 seasons into their football club. They've got the new TV deal money. There's a brand new USA deal coming through soon from US Money, which is going to lead to around 30 to 50 million pounds additional into the bank accounts of football clubs each year. This new, the Premier League is growing no end in the States. The new TV deals are coming there soon. ESPN are the ones that may be winning it. And the money's going to keep growing. So if you've got a good owner who enables the income of the club to be spent on your squad first to win trophies, and during that Champions League, you've got a manager the players are bought into. You've got this new beautiful stadium that is in the heart of New London, as I like to call it, because Stratford never used to be a desirable place. Now it is. Everybody's there. You've got, casinos and shopping malls and new buildings going up everywhere. West Ham are suddenly in the most brilliant space to kind of push on and maybe go one step further in terms of cementing themselves as top 4 regulars than the likes of Leicester. Wolves had ambitions to do it, but they couldn't quite get it done. Tottenham had a 2 or 3 year period where they were there. And I think it's really exciting for the Premier League to see West Ham United like fighting hard and getting back to, getting to where they are as it stands right now. And then on top of that, you've got the Spurs have got Conte. What is that going to do? Arsenal are on the way back, as it were. There's so many exciting things going on right now in terms of title race, top 4 push. I just think this new takeover is just really, really good. Do you really good.
Do you think that so when I look back at the last couple of years and the teams that Leicester had put together to try to fight for top 4, they never looked as dangerous as West Ham has now for me. I've never said I used to think Leicester was, they were playing good football and they were really good, but it's something about West Ham. They're very, very, very dangerous and solid. And what I like about what Moyes has done is it's no frills. It's very old school, but still nice to watch. And I haven't seen that in a long time. He's done such a good job, but even the Leicester teams over the last couple of years haven't had this solidity, this, I don't know what to call it, but it's something that I'm not looking forward to watch playing West Ham this time around. I'm not.
Do you know what I think it is? Leicester play a very pretty style of football, but it's when you see the smaller clubs, and I know a lot of fans of these smaller clubs don't like it being said, when they play that way, there's always this feeling of, yeah, but you open up like that against the big boys, invariably you're going to get spanked. And I'm not saying they get spanked, but they get beat on a basis of that. Or they look vulnerable because you think, oh, you leave so much space in behind. So maybe they don't look, even in the wins, they don't always look as dominant. Although I've seen them smash Man United and Arsenal on a number of occasions in the last 2 or 3 years. With West Ham, it's a different approach. They're resolute. This season more so than last year with Zuma's introduction. Now it's going to be difficult because Agbona's now out. You had Agbona and Zuma in the middle, and they were resolute. They were hard to break down. They were like this powerhouse team. They remind me of like a cheaper version of Jose's back-to-back Chelsea winners, where they were just they played good football. They had good technicians, but they were big, strong, powerful as a football club. And that's what West Ham remind me of. That's why they're so good at set pieces, because nearly everyone in their team, barring the height of Bowen, is a unit, and they've got no little skinny men on the pitch, no little paper cuts running around. Everybody is strong. It's old joke, isn't it? You're so skinny, you give someone a paper cut. It's a good joke. But yeah, they look powerful. And I think when you watch them, you feel like they're less vulnerable, where when you're a bit more of a tiki-taka style football team, a bit more progressive, a bit more modern, there's an element of, you might get caught on the chin in a minute because you're kind of opened up and no one knows how strong you are. And yeah, they look very, very good indeed. It's such an interesting thing that Moyes has created there for me.
It'll be interesting to see, it doesn't really matter whether they finish in the top 4 or the top 6. It doesn't really matter to me because I think the conversation is relevant. But after they finish this season, and let's just say they finish in the top 4, if Declan Rice still wants to leave, because I do think that, like, if they make top 4, he's not going anywhere. And if you keep a player of that level in your midfield amongst the Chelseas and the Man Cities and the Man Uniteds that will clearly be interested in him, that puts you on a whole different level, I think. Arsenal has never been able to keep on to their best players. They've always sold to rivals when they fell short. Always.
Well, that's
If
what,
they don't do that, they're serious.
In obviously prep for our show yesterday, we kind of spoke about Arsenal, and I'm hearing a lot of Arsenal fans talk about we've turned a corner. Maybe I was a bit harsh to judge the Cronkies in a particular way. They're running the club better now. When it comes to a club the size of Arsenal, the size of Man United, the size of Liverpool, Tottenham think they're on this level. Let's see what they do. It's what you do when you grow a good team that determines your size. Now, myself and Tom from Arsenal Talk TV have had this kind of ongoing dispute for about 2 years now, where he says that I should be proud or happy if my club had the complete model that Dortmund have. And my view's always been, I don't want Dortmund's model. Irrespective that they're better than my team are right now, there's a ceiling to Dortmund's model. That means they'll compete and be very good in the Bundesliga. They'll be a good team to look at in the Champions League. But with how they buy and sell and when they sell stars, they're never going to be the dominant force in Europe that I want my club to get to. Now, I want my club to be run better, but I don't want it to be run where the ceiling is top 4 qualification, very pretty football, very low chance of winning a Champions League or Premier League or league title, wherever they are. And that's how we're going to know about Arsenal's real progression. This season in isolation, do Arsenal move forward or not? And where Arteta finishes will determine whether or not your owners have really turned a corner. If Arteta finishes 6th or 7th, fades away at the end with a very good squad that's being built, you'll know they're serious if they say, we now need someone better. Thank you, Mikel. You're off. Equally, if Mikel keeps improving and you finish 3rd, 4th, looking good, then it's renew the better players' contracts and go out in the summer and add 2 or 3 more pieces of stardust to this team to take us to the next level. When you'll know that Arsenal Football Club are serious at the nth degree again is when you stop doing what you did for nearly a 15-year period. And this hence back to your point about Declan Rice, where Arsenal, for me, from the mid-noughties until recently, nearly every time you had a star player, a club, domestically or internationally, was able to take them away. And that's when you know that you're back to dining at the very least. You're always going to lose a player or 2. That's kind of normal. Most do. But Liverpool are in the last 5 years, how many of their stars have they lost? Coutinho, right? If you look at Man City, how many players have Man City let go they really want to keep? None. Man United in my lifetime, I think about it as the only one that I can think of that they didn't want to lose, who they let go, was Cristiano Ronaldo. The Beckhams and the Stams and the Van Nistelrooys, they were all, Fergie wanted them to go. It wasn't the other way around. So that's how you know when an elite club's back. From West Ham's point of view, how they operate, if they make the Champions League, what they do with the likes of Declan Rice, I think will be a telltale sign to where they think they can be as a football club. You know, if this new owner, this new investor comes in, they make Champions League, and they go out and say, listen, we're going to really go for this now. We want to turn this team into genuine powerhouse contenders. Then Declan Rice could stay. If he sits there and goes, they want to do next season on a shoestring budget, then he's going to want to go because we've seen his levels this season. He's a top star. And he deserves to be at one of the best clubs in England. And if West Ham can't give him that, then he's got every right to move. I've got a super chat here. It says, the crazy thing is, for a bunch of penny pinchers, they make some seriously dumb financial decisions. Ollie staying will cost them more than sacking him. Potentially. You never quite know what the contracts state or say. I remember speaking to an agent once, and he never told us the players at Arsenal that had this. But there was 3 players that he knew had this in their contracts because he brokered the deals where if they came on from the bench after the 75th minute or they were subbed after the 65th minute, their pay was reduced massively per week. So there was a time where these players were getting, like, the manager was being ridiculed for making the subs at certain times. Why don't you bring this guy on earlier, or why don't you sub him off earlier? And it was all, or why don't you keep him on when he was playing well? It was a way of keeping costs down at the football club. So Man United might be doing this because if United hit a certain trigger, they might save themselves 15, 20 million pounds, and they might look at it and go, well, we'll offset that. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, the one thing I'd say about the Glazers is when it comes to money, I don't know if they're dumb. I think they're penny pinchers, but I don't think they're stupid. But thank you for that super chat. No one's had a guess yet at the secret. I thought you guys were going to jump at the chance of winning another games console, but we're here for a little while longer. I know I'm not going to ask you about Arsenal in the top four because I know your thoughts on it. You're not sold on the idea that you're in this top four race yet, so I'm not going to get you to speak about it again in relation to that. But I do want to ask about, we're going to get onto the title race a little bit later. Viewers, by the way, we're closing in on 500 likes, which is absolutely brilliant. Keep smashing it. Stevie G, returning to the Premier League, highly likely as it stands right now to become the Aston Villa manager. Give us your thoughts.
It's I'm glad they avoided the Lampard Terry thing, because I could have sworn, not you Terry, John Terry
I
thing.
know that, yeah.
Because I was thinking like one of them is gonna get it, But yeah, when it comes to Gerrard, I think that, like, it's a little bit of a risk. Every managerial, thing is a risk. I do think that there's a difference between the Scottish League and the Premier League, and he will have to come up a level. There's been a lot of debates on whether, he's making a step up because Rangers is a huge club and all of that. But let's be real, the money in the Premier League and the competition of the Premier League supersedes anything that's going on in that Scottish League. So if he does leave, he's right to leave if he wants to elevate his career. He was, he was successful, right? I mean, first Scottish Premier League title in 10 years. So for me, it's a good appointment. What people are telling me about his style of play, because I'm not about to sit here and tell you that I've been sitting around watching Rangers, because I haven't, but what they're calling it is Liverpool light. So he'll have that element of being able to get that pressy style and play very entertaining football. And let's be real. Like, Aston Villa has some really good players. Like, they're playing under their level right now. Like, I still think that they're, higher mid-table, but they're definitely not relegation candidate types, So it's a decent appointment on paper. You have to see how it comes to fruition on the pitch, but new blood. I think it just shows the level of the Premier League, the level of the managers that are in and around the Premier League are so good. And I'm interested to see what he can do and what his philosophy looks like at an Aston Villa team that doesn't have a bunch of stars and all of that, just some like really hardworking players. And then it's also interesting to see what that's going to do to his ability or the chances of him succeeding Klopp. I think any Liverpool fan that thinks that Klopp is going to go Sir Alex Ferguson or Wenger for them, you're deluded. He's definitely going to leave within the next 1 to 2 years. And so with Aston Villa getting Gerrard, that takes away a big candidate for that position, which I thought would be a good appointment for Liverpool moving forward. So I think that's the more interesting conversation, is whether or not Gerrard would be out of that race to take over for Liverpool, because a lot of Liverpool fans want it. But in the short term, it's going to be interesting to see what he does with this Villa side that's struggling. What do you think?
Yeah, like he kind of took back some of the power away from Celtic, and many managers have tried over look, obviously Rangers have been on the way up since obviously being put down to the bottom tier within the sort of pyramid because of all the financial issues that they've got. But for Gerrard to come in and kind of push them on and move them on to that next level again, and he made them competitive. He got them back to, it was their first title in 10 years. And if you look at that 10-year period for Rangers, it was horrendous, like absolutely. I mean, they got back up fairly quickly, but it was a horrendous 10 years. And he's come in there and he's brought the life and soul back to that football club. And it's got them, people talk about being spoiled. Rangers, in fairness, Rangers and Celtic, for the history of their clubs, deserve to be looked at like Man United's and Liverpool's, in the sense of they are a global. People don't realize if Rangers and Celtic were in the Premier League, their global fan base would be touching the likes of Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United. Like, they really would. They're gargantuan in size. So to manage that expectation is huge. They play good football. They're a very dominant team up there now. However, there's a ceiling to it because there is a lack of money. He's never going to be given enough money to be able to become competitive in Europe or be able to compete with, like, you know, with the biggest teams in Europe. He could never do well in the Champions League with Rangers. There isn't enough money in Scottish football for them to be able to compete. A lot of players at those clubs are championship level football players. Now, I'm not saying it with any disrespect to Scottish football. It's just because of money and where they find themselves in the pyramid at this moment in time. He has to make a move. I said on this morning's show, this kind of notion of him waiting for Liverpool is stupid, because who knows what the next 2 to 3 years bring. Klopp might sign a new deal. And therefore, for the next, is he going to turn down every job between now and then Klopp says, I want to stay, actually? You know, he might turn down all these opportunities and go stale at Rangers, and then Liverpool say, you're not right for us. We're going to go in another direction for this hot young buck on the way up. He needs to make the right decisions for him. Liverpool Football Club cannot be, in my opinion, part of his decision-making process for his career, because you never know what's going to happen in relation to that. You know, it's a bit like you ask a young lady out and she says, no, I'm just not looking to be in a relationship right now. And you say, right, until you are ready, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to waste my whole life waiting for you.
That's what you should do, though. I mean, that's the best advice I could possibly give you, is just to wait.
Gentlemen, never, ever, ever do that, gentlemen. Never, ever do it. Never, ever do it. Like, legitimately, don't ever do it. It's not the right thing to do. Will he do well at Aston Villa? Look, I don't know. And I say that with respect. Nobody
What are you
knows.
about to say? What are you about to say?
No, nobody knows. He hasn't managed at this level yet. We don't know whether he's going to do good or bad. The signs look really good. He looks like a very talented manager. And I've seen a few Liverpool fans be a bit like, I'm a little bit annoyed he's going to be managing a team against us. And it will be weird for Liverpool supporters to watch one of their biggest legends compete against them. That hasn't happened very often. At the same time, I remember Liverpool fans being very happy when Kenny Dalglish won the Premier League, but that was stopping Man United from winning it. Are Aston Villa going to be challenging and competing against Liverpool for the same trophies and titles? No, so I don't think it's going to cause any friction or any problems in that way. It's a very good appointment for him. He gets the opportunity to go out and see what he can do. Yeah, I'm very intrigued by it. And it's kind of like there's a part of me that sort of, Scholes is never going to become a manager. I'd love Scholes and Lampard to both have jobs in the Premier again and watch them three go at it as managers. I think when it comes to the managerial debate, Gerrard's certainly leading that race right now because, again, having said that, but Frank Lampard's back in the running. I know he's had conversations with Norwich about going back in there as Ek. And these are the kind of levels of Premier League clubs for managing in the Championship and Scottish leagues. This is the kind of level that Frank Lampard should have come in at. He should never have come into a Chelsea job after 1 year's experience. It was too much too soon. You know, build your way up to that level. I think Gerrard's path is perfect, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that mid-level manager, that mid-manager level, like, no disrespect to anybody that like follows Aston Villa, Brighton, Palace, is way more interesting when it's people that like are old legends of other clubs. It's more interesting to me. It's fun to watch. Like watching Patrick Vieira manage Crystal Palace, although it's slightly painful, just a little bit painful, it's just, it adds to the narrative and the story of everything that's going on. And for me, this is one of the most interesting and dynamic Premier League seasons in a while because of the different characters and the storylines and stuff like that. So adding Stevie G in there and maybe even Lampard coming back, I just think makes everything so much more interesting, you know, so I'm excited for it. Excited to see.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, I tweeted this morning after speaking to a few people yesterday, and they said that it was almost done, and it's on the verge as we speak. It is almost done. It is almost dusted. It is almost over the line now. That Gerrard will become the Aston Villa manager. It would take a colossal U-turn at this moment in time for it not to take place and for it not to happen. It's going to be done. He's on the verge of this being completed and this being done, this being over the line. So yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. And I think what's now gone on, and this is what I spoke about this morning on the show, that actually Gerrard was willing to do. Like, obviously, they spoke to reps and they spoke to intermediaries. They were waiting for official permission to come in from Rangers to allow talk. So a conversation had to happen between Villa and Rangers. It now appears that's good. That I would hazard a guess that at some point in the next 12 to 24 hours, you'll see a report that will suggest that official talks can now begin. They'll iron out all the issues and bits and bobs, and then it'll be done. So I would say it's very, very close to happening in my view.
Cool. I love it.
Yeah. 1 second here.
Especially since Dean Smith, I mean, it's crazy how things turned around for him so quickly. But then when you read some of the quotes about him, you know, and I know this might be a sore spot for Man United fans, but relying on individual talent and his inability to manage that team without Jack Grealish just showed like his levels were just not up. And I think it's just as simple as that. You know, so Steven Gerrard could come into a team that's full of good players that he actually has to coach. Whereas I feel like Dean Smith was just like, Jack, you're going to do it for me. And that's just not good enough.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I say it's almost done. It's almost over the line now. Dean Smith as well. Do you know what's interesting? I feel like John Terry played a big part. I feel like John Terry played a big part in their success. And
yeah, but when we said that about Arteta and City,
I mean,
well, I mean,
City went
how
on
do
to
we
win the league.
know? But how do we know?
Hang on. But City went on to win the league again without Arteta and
yeah,
Dean
but
Smith
they
went
went through a little
backwards.
dip. They went through a little dip and then they rebounded. But when we tried to say that, it was quabashed. I don't want to hear anything about John Terry being the reason.
Look, so listen, this is my view on it. Someone said to me, why wouldn't he be? I think John Terry, this is purely in my head. I think John Terry is a good coach, good to have in the dressing room. I don't think he's the kind of person that can manage people. So I think he's that kind of person that could be a great number two, a great coach. I get the feeling that he won't be a good manager. And I don't even know what makes me think that. There's almost this element of, I just think there is. I think he can be, I think John, although he was a great captain, it doesn't necessarily mean great manager. I think he will enjoy being a number two and not having the responsibility of being the main manager. I think he did a lot more for Dean Smith than we're going to hear about. And Dean Smith was probably just the orchestrator that enabled it all to bind together. That's just my view. I could be so wrong, and he could turn out to end up being one of the best managers the country's seen. But just a little gut feeling I've got right now. But there we go. I put this lady called Whiskey Queen, who this morning said, when I tweeted out this morning that Gerrard was close, and she said absolutely not, and then I just said like, but it's true. She's like, hope not. Do you know the amount of people that sometimes attack your news just because they don't want it to be true, as opposed to they don't care whether it is or it isn't. It's like, nah, that ain't true. Why is it not true? Because I don't want it to be. It's a mad view. Title race though. And we kind of touched on this on the BV show Monday, but I wanted to speak to you more one-on-one about it. Mm-hmm. It's got to be Chelsea, hasn't it? Like I can't conceivably see anybody else winning it other than Chelsea right now.
Yeah, I don't know what other people are watching when they watch the Premier League, but I can't see past Chelsea because they're the only team that looks like they have, even with big injuries to their squad, is still doing the business. And I know that they dropped points against Burnley, but they just don't seem to have real weaknesses. And that's what I tend to look at. Who has more weaknesses and which manager is going to be able to fix those weaknesses the quickest. You know, Man City's weakness is not being able to score as many goals as they have in the past, and not getting that striker maybe is a part of that, or maybe just some players in some poor form, like Sterling, you know, for example. So how quickly can you fix that issue without bringing in new blood? Pep's not going to change his system. So I think it's a personnel thing. And until you get to January, you can't address it. And sometimes by the time you get to January, the thing is over. I know that they go through this thing in January where they start really pushing, but Chelsea has not lost a step. Then if you look at Liverpool, their issue is midfield / defense, not being able to keep them from bleeding goals. And Salah maybe going in January to AFCON, and Mane as well. And I'm just like, how can he fix those issues? I mean, Liverpool have been leaking goals for a minute and they haven't been able to figure it out. So if he can't figure it out quick enough, or he doesn't figure it out at all, if those weaknesses are still there and those holes continue to grow, then how do you expect them to win titles? I don't really see it. Tuchel had one mistake against Man City, one half, 45 minutes of a mistake that he had against City, and he fixed it next game, back in action. No Lukaku, nothing is happening. They look fine. So I can only see Chelsea until they show a bigger weakness. I don't see it. Everybody said it was Lukaku getting injured. He's injured, they're fine. Like, what is it?
No, I completely agree, and I feel a little bit the same. In fact, I feel massively the same. I know people can say, but Terry, you can't tell what I always love about predictions when you don't predict someone's favorite team to do well is you always get this response of, but Terry, you can't tell the future. And that's right. I can't tell the future. But by that logic, other than reviewing games, none of us should ever talk football. Because nearly everything in football you talk about is if, buts, and maybes, hypotheticals, what I think will happen based on what I have seen. And of course, City and Liverpool have the capabilities of winning the league. City, that striker needs to come in on the 1st of Jan. Even leaving it till the end of Jan, they'll drop points in January. Liverpool, as soon as, and I think the fix at Liverpool is very simple, very easy. Liverpool Football Club need to pick a centre-back pairing, whether it's Matip and VVD, Gomez or Konate, whoever comes in to play next to Van Dijk, pick them, and 85-90% of your games they play. That I'm talking Prem, Champions League, they play. It feels to me from the outsider looking in, similar mistakes to last year where they had the injuries, but there was an inconsistency with picking who was at the back. And that inconsistency with picking who's at your back led to the indecision. As soon as they went with a recognized unit, the improvements came and the back-to-back wins came. They looked resolute at the back. They weren't being caught out as much. They maintained the same high line. They just weren't being caught out as much. And I think that indecision has come because there isn't the relationships being built in these games. So I think there's some really quick things that both clubs can do. But when I look at Chelsea, they had an off day against Burnley, but still extended their lead at the top of the table. And I think for me, that is absolutely massive. I can't look beyond them personally. I really, really can't. I really, really can't. And that isn't to say they're gonna win the league by 10, 15 points. How a lot of people are interpreting this. It would be close. I just think Chelsea got the start. I did see someone say the other day. No, I'll tell you it was Igal. Igal said in a tweet, "Until I've seen Chelsea over a 38 game period, I'm not going to judge whether they can win the league or not." I'm like, bruv, you see your club have a run of 5 games and tell us that you've got a title winning defense. But yet Chelsea, for nearly 12 months, have been one of the most consistent teams in the world. They win the Champions League, and that's not enough to go by. Some people make me die. I think a lot of people want Chelsea to foul, though, right now. I think there's a lot of Chelsea people that want Chelsea to foul more than any other team.
Well, I told you why that is. It's just, it's easier for most fans to say Man City because we're not going to hear anything from Man City fans if they win the league. For me, Chelsea winning the league, although they're not really, for me, a rival of Arsenal at all, I know more Chelsea fans and I know how they act because I just saw them act like that when they won the Champions League. I think it's more just that aspect of I don't want them to win, so let me make up a reason why they won't. But I think they have the best chance. And just like, I forget who said it the other day, they said that when Liverpool were going to win the Champions League and the league, there was something about them. You could just feel the wind was blowing in their direction. I feel very similarly to Chelsea. I think it's their moment. They're in form. Their manager's in form. They're in form. Everything is coming together. The rivals are dropping points. And it just feels like it's their time. Now we could get to January and Man City can have that run of form that they always have. Klopp can pick two center backs that play well together. Thiago and Fabinho can solidify that midfield and everything is fine. But I still just feel like unless Chelsea goes through a bad run of form, even those changes that they make won't be enough because they're just doing it.
Yeah, it's going to be very intriguing to see what happens. Your signal has been having an absolute nightmare today. I don't know what's been going on with it. You sound like a robot on a few occasions. You did then, but I got the gist of what you were saying. And yeah,
why
listen,
did you say anything?
Because you were in the middle of talking, and when
You
someone's
should have
having
said.
signal problem, wait a minute. If somebody starts talking in the middle of signal issues, it then just perpetuates. You let someone finish speaking, and then you say it. It's a lot easier. I've learned that doing this job. Red Wolf says, if both Senegal and Egypt go deep into the African Cup of Nations, how many goals do you see the attack getting, especially since Firmino will still be fresh back from injury? Well, Liverpool, according to Fabrizio Romano, Liverpool are looking at signing a winger or a wide player to come in during that time, but we'll see what happens there. Excuse me, sir, what team do you support? I support Manchester United. So again, people will pull on that and say, oh, you're just being salty. Well, last season, my prediction to win the league was Liverpool. Season before that, my prediction to win the league was Man City. I just think Chelsea, it's not even about, like, there are issues with Liverpool and City. It's also just because I think Chelsea are peaking right now. And they may not be peaking with the same entertainment fashion that Liverpool and City's teams peaked with. But it's the efficiency of outputs. The lack of goals they concede is just astronomical as far as I'm concerned, Ray, which is why I put them there. City fans were out singing United fans at Old Trafford last week. Don't forget. I'm not surprised with our situation and you guys winning. And if it was the other way around and you guys were sitting sixth and we were sitting up near the top, current champions of the country, with yourselves looking in turmoil, I'm pretty sure we'd outsing you at the Etihad. So I do get that, Blue Viper. But yeah, I would expect that to be the case. Lengen Sweet says, Chelsea fans gassed over Champions League win. This ain't the Champions League. This is the Premier League, which they're top of. And only conceded 4 goals all season. So that's why I make them favourites. And the reason that I've maintained that all year is because my reason for picking them is they barely concede. And we're 11 games into this campaign and they've barely conceded. And I think that's huge. And even when their defense has been broken down, invariably, Mendy saved them. I think that's great. I think that's great.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's nothing else really to say, but like people will talk about the way that they play is not interesting. I think they're boring to watch, but it all goes back to the efficiency, the defense, you know, and the fact that the other teams are dropping points, you know. So it just is what it is, guys. You know, for me, they're the title favorites until something changes. You know, it just is what it is for me.
Yeah, no, I hear you completely. I really do. Let's go to some of your comments coming through here. Phrase United in the mud. No, the phrase isn't United in the mud, but Martin, very, very good guess at the secret phrase. Remember, we're giving away a game. I've changed it again. Games console of your choice. PS5, Xbox. Some of you might want a Wii. Do Wii's even exist? I don't know. But you can have one if you want. Also giving away a brand new pair of Cristiano Ronaldo's football boots. So whichever you want, let us know. Jess, Chelsea were not bad first half. City were just too good, is what Dennis has got to say.
I think yes, yeah, you're correct. Man City, Pep got it right that time. He had gotten it wrong before. He got it right that time. And then, but when Tuchel made his changes in the second half, it was so much closer. And so for me, it's 45 minutes where they were off and then he changed it and they were right back. So, but you are correct. I have to give some praise to Pep. He got it right that time.
Yeah, yep. I hear you on that. Let's go to another comment that's come through here that says, as a Chelsea fan, Ollie should try 4-3-1-2. I mean, yeah.
Terry doesn't care anymore, you guys.
I don't think anything Ollie tries is going to work. I hear it, but I don't think it. Terry, what constitutes a good guess? I think a good guess for me is when some people have been close, but other times good guesses are it's out. Like it's out the way. It's like it's a guest that's kind of. Oh, I didn't even expect that guest to come, and it's a good guess. It's like, oh, that's a warped one, because this football phrase is warped. It's not simple. This football phrase is out there. It's out there. It's
Well, the other one
completely.
wasn't easy either. You're gonna give clues, right?
I will. If we hit
Later?
1,000 likes in a stream, then you get a clue. So, like I said the other day, viewers, if you're someone that's super chatting in, you've all got friends, and I don't know. Just do this. Send a link to your friend saying, "Bro, go on this stream now and hit a like. Get it to 1,000 likes quickly, and you get the clue. It's really simple. Get the stream. There's actually enough of you now to hit 1,000 likes, and then you get your clue. I know a lot of you want to wait for a clue before you start putting in your super chats, and I get that. You're saving them. So get it past 1,000 likes, and you get your clue. And I'll give you a new clue every time we hit that milestone. But this one's out there. It's a tough one. This is legitimately going to be a tough one for you guys to think. Well, in fairness, the last one was tough. I thought the last one was tough, but then somebody got it. Then somebody went and got it done. So it's definitely.
It was
gettable.
difficult, especially with those terrible clues you gave out. They were good. They were good.
Terry out. Terry out for what? It's a madness to me.
Well, he
what
also said make Jessica in charge. That's what he said. Yeah, put Jess in charge. So there's calls for you to move over.
Jess can buy the football terrace, £650,000 cash. Yours. That's my sell price. Because that pays
move me over. Just move me over to the hosting spot.
No. Well, why would I give you control without you paying to have control? What's in it for me?
Because that's what the people want.
Yeah, but that's not going to pay my mortgage off, is it? That's why I want the money. Pay my mortgage off, and I can live like no mortgage. I've got an easy life. That's the point. Terry, give KJ a raise.
Oh, yeah.
KJ's doing good. KJ's doing good. Terry, am I serious about what? Selling the terrace? No, I'm just telling you, like, what I had to come up with a price, and I just thought what my mortgage was. I'm like, my mortgage is 600 grand, so I was like, I'll just pay it off. Like that's what it would be. Let's have a little look here at what's being said. A like for Jess. Sorry, yeah, you can hit the like for. I don't care what reason you hit the like button for. Just hit the damn thing. Legit. Let's have a little look at some of these comments here. Okay, interesting. The only current top 6 team Chelsea beat is Arsenal, who started slow with injuries, flopped versus Liverpool and City, regardless of red, champions of Europe and elect Premier League champions should win.
They did not flop against Liverpool. They outplayed them. You guys, come on. You watched that game. Chelsea outplayed Liverpool in that game, in my opinion.
But it's also... Again, but you know, I would say, like, even if Nazir, bro, even if you're right, but they're not dropped, they haven't conceded 2 or more goals in 6 of their last 11 games in top flight competition, as in major competitions, discounting the League Cup. So, yes, they might have only drawn against Liverpool. They got narrowly beat by City, but they didn't throw a 2-0 lead away to Brighton. They beat Brentford, who you conceded 3 goals against. Do you know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. Chelsea have been, so far this season, Chelsea are the best team in the league, and that can't be overlooked. You couple that in with all the form before the season begun. They look the most complete. The squad's nice and balanced, and they're playing not the best looking football. And I think
they're playing good football. They're playing good football.
This is what happens, I think, with football fans now. It's the semantics of things and the language we all use. I'm not saying they play the best football, therefore they're the best team. They're getting the best results. And we know that because they're top of the league. And that makes them the best team. Let's have a look here. Jess hates Liverpool is what's being said here. Oh, okay. I never get that impression. We've got a super chat, member chat here for celebrating 21 months as a legend and super fan. It says, evening, Terry and Jess. I think Liverpool can win the league, but need to sort out our defense. Chelsea are looking good. Liverpool win the Champions League and should try to win the FA Cup and League Cup. The League Cups are open now.
West Ham is going to win one of those. West Ham is going to win something. I believe they'll win. I think they'll win the Carabao Cup. I do. They're going to win something. Now the FA Cup, I don't know about that, but I think the Carabao Cup, I have this weird feeling that they're going to win it. But Liverpool, of course, they can win the league. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. It just still, there's just issues there. Champions League, maybe, you know, a better chance there. But there's going to be some weird winners if somebody, even Conte, he's going to be trying to get some sort of cup underneath his belt. Wouldn't be surprised if he took an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup. So I don't think it's that easy. I think Liverpool really needs to take a look in the mirror. Something's not right, you know. Now that being said, we're probably going to get slapped when you
Yeah,
guys play us.
you've got them next.
No,
Like I'd be watching. If I was you, I'd be watching your mouth right now because you've got to play them next, and I think they could
I
tank
know,
you.
like, oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'm saying this famous last words, but I say this with love, Liverpool fans. There's something not quite there in terms of like the highest level elite, you know, whatever. Y'all, there's something missing, you know. So don't hate me.
Okay, is the phrase they play better on their record? Sorry, they play better than their record indicates. That is that's a really good guess. It isn't that, but what a guess there, Red Wolf. That's such again a warped kind of attempt, but that's what it's going to be. It's going to be something along those lines. It is something along those lines. So yeah, great guess, great attempt. Remember tonight at 9 p.m. we are ranking the season signings so far. We are ranking the season signings so far tonight at 9 p.m. on the Football Terrace. So you might want to save some of your super chats for that later as well. It's going to be an epic, epic show. We've got Husim on. We've got Dom from United Source. We have Louis on from Give Me Sport. We've got Have Hope. Have Hope is going to be on the show with us later as well. Of course, myself. And there was one other person, and I now forget who that was. I've got to go to my DMs to check. Man like Curran. Man like Curran.
But Curran will make sure that Ramsdale is top. Okay? I remember all the smack that people talked about us in our transfer window. Our players have got to go up there. They have to.
Did I talk smack about your transfer window? Or was I more positive? I'm not. Stop talking. I wasn't suggesting you were talking. No, because I wasn't suggesting you said me. I was going to say something to you. Who was more positive about your transfer window than nearly every single Arsenal fan on social media?
Oh, it was Terry. Okay, we got it. It wasn't you, but there were people that were super, super negative, and I want Sancho at the bottom of that, the bottom of the barrel. Sorry.
Agendas. Man United players are not included tonight, by the way. We're not including any team where managers' jobs are on the line because that isn't fair on their players. I'm joking.
You guys make sure Sancho is in that, but whatever the bottom tier is or unranked, put him there. Just for me. Thanks, guys.
Phrase, trust the process. There we go. We've got some other good ranking shows come later on in the week. We're picking the best ever Premier League players to play in the Champions League. That's going to be a fun one. And it's going to be like 2 people for each position. That's how we're going to do it. We're going to be ranking the best Premier League centre-back partnerships of all time as well. And there's a couple of others on the horizon.
At some point. You never choose what I want to do. That's why I don't come on those ranking shows.
You never give any suggestions. So how did I know you want that?
No, I did.
You never comment in a group chat anymore. You definitely muted it. So like you're never involved. So that's on your neck, isn't it? That's on your head.
I did say DMs. I did.
There we go. Okay, once upon a time. Terry, you were pushing that agenda so you could slate them when they failed. No. See, this is what happens. I praise someone's transfers, and then it's Terry has an agenda. I say someone's transfers are not very good, and I'm told I've got an agenda. That makes no sense. I have an opinion, no agenda. Never have an agenda. One of the reasons you started watching this show, Winnerpool, was when you guys were the best team in the world. I remember your comments, and Terry's so unbiased. He's saying that this Winnerpool, this is you. Oh, Terry's one of the most unbiased football fans I've ever come across. For a Man United fan to say Liverpool are the best team in the world, that's brilliant. Now that you're not the best team in the world, and I say it, you're like, oh, you're so unfair to my club. Winnerpool. Listen, grow a pair, bruv. Grow a pair. That's what I'm going to say to you, my brother. Grow a pair. Do me a favor and smash that like button again for us. Just past 600 likes, which is absolutely amazing. So a massive thank you to each and every single one of you that have done that so far. It means a huge amount to me. It really does. But there we go. That's the weekly show. That is the weekly show this week from Jess and I. Terry just twerks for Chelsea all day. No. And you know what, Liverpool for L. This is what everybody said. This is what everybody said when I was praising Liverpool all the time. Oh, Terry just twerks for Liverpool. And then when, let's just say Arsenal become the best team in the league, and I start saying Arsenal are the best team in the league, you'll all say Terry's twerking for Arsenal. And then if Man United ever get there again, you'll just say Terry's biased and only loves his own club. Come on. Grow. This is the Football Terrace. We chat all teams. And when your team's on the top, who says you're the best? What rival says you're the best first? Always me. Always me. But there we go. There we go. Everyone who's tuned in, a massive thank you to each and every single one of you. It means a great deal to us. Stephen here. See, I like Stephen. I like your unbiased analysis on your show. We love your program. Listen, Stephen, my guy, thank you. I love you too, brother. I love you too. I know I'm the best. I know I'm the best. Just a joke, people. Terry, you're the best. Now look at this. You know, see, everyone knows. Everyone knows. Just damn. I'm only joking. My G Terry, the trailblazer, the effing template that they all want to emulate and copy, the Donald football content. Also by Jessinio, my gorgeousness, he said. Hope both of you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much. I don't know if that's prime on. It isn't prime. That's normal. But thank you. I don't think everybody wants to copy me, but it's very nice to get a compliment, as it were. Smash that like button before you leave. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless.